The Port of Seattle is a major driver in our regional economy, operating some of the region's most essential trade and travel facilities. Every November, the port approves its next year's operating budget and a 5-year capital plan. We want to share some of those highlights, but first, it helps to understand how the port is funded. Approximately half of the port's funds come from operating revenues and from fees from tenants who lease our facilities. Fees include real estate and tenant leases at port facilities, marine terminal leases, and moorage fees at marinas, airport landing fees, and passenger facility charges. Ports also generate funds from bond proceeds. Bonds are issued by governments and corporations as a way to raise money for upfront investments. Bonds do not generate revenue for ports. Instead, they provide a way to finance major, long-term investment in infrastructure, which are then paid back over time with future port revenues. The port also receives grants from other local, state, and federal governments, particularly for capital projects, improvements to make freight routes safer and more efficient, and decarbonization projects. Finally, a very small portion of your King County property tax goes to the port, typically around 1% of your total King County property taxes. That tax revenue makes up approximately 4% of the port's annual funds. In 2022, the average King County homeowner paid an estimate of $78 per year. The port uses these funds to pay for bond debt service, capital projects, and investments in the community to improve the region's economy, environment, and equity. Programs funded by the Port Tax Levy, such as the South King County Community Impact Fund and Duwamish Valley Community Equity Program, were designed to focus first on the communities that were historically overlooked. It is important to note that aviation-specific revenue, like airport landing fees and passenger fees, must be reinvested at the airport. This is federally required, and it helps ensure that the airport is essentially self-funded. Typically, the port dedicates over 40% of its funds to capital projects. Right now, we are spending almost $1 billion a year at the airport on our Upgrade SCA program. Featured Upgrade SCA projects include improvements to the ticketing area, expansion to our Sea Concourse traveler amenities, relocation of one of our TSA checkpoints to provide more queuing space, and adding lanes to the congested airport drive. We also spend hundreds of millions on improving our seaport for both the Port of Seattle and through our Northwest Seaport Alliance partnership with the Port of Tacoma.
These projects include building out the second berth of Terminal 5, adding clean electric shore power for cargo and cruise ships, and improving facilities for maritime industrial customers at Pier 91 and Fisherman's Terminal.
About a third of the port's funds go to operations. This includes investments in our workforce, technology, and our community. The port uses these funds to continue adding family wage jobs, encouraging economic growth, and improving quality of life for all. Finally, the port uses funds to meet our bond repayment and interest obligations. Learn more about our 2024 budget at the port's website